Welcome back to the channel, JF Coin lovers and treasure hunters. Today we are diving deep into the world of American coinage to explore one of the most iconic and historic coins ever minted, the 1940 D wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent. This tiny 1-cent coin from the Denver Mint might look simple to the untrained eye, but behind its copper surface lies a fascinating story of history, design, and collector value that still excites numismatists and coin enthusiasts from all around the world. Now let us step back for a moment and talk about what makes this coin so special. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series began in 1909 and was created to honor President Abraham Lincoln on the centennial of his birth. For the very first time in United States history, the face of a real person, a president, appeared on a circulating coin. Victor David Brenner, the talented designer, was chosen to create this beautiful portrait of Lincoln, which still appears on our pennies today. Over the years, this coin became one of the most beloved designs in American history. By 1940, the world was a very different place. The United States was recovering from the Great Depression, and the dark clouds of World War II were already forming across Europe. The coins minted during this time tell the story of America's resilience. The 1940 wheat penny was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and today we are focusing on the Denver Mint, marked with the small letter D just below the date. On the front of the coin, the 1940 D wheat penny is made of 95% copper with a small mix of tin and zinc. The coin weighs about 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19 millimeters. Its obverse shows the right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln with the words "In God We Trust" arching over his head, liberty to the left, and the year 1940 with the Denver Mint marked just below. On the reverse we see the classic 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America with the motto E pluribus unum at the top. This design is simple yet powerful, and it became an enduring symbol of America's strength during challenging years. Now let us talk about why this coin matters to collectors today. The 1940 D wheat penny has a base value of about 1 to 2 cents if it is heavily worn, which is not surprising since hundreds of millions of them were minted. However, the magic begins when we look at condition and rarity. If you happen to find a 1940 D wheat penny in very fine condition or higher, it quickly jumps in value. Coins in extremely fine condition can fetch around $10 to $15. Uncirculated examples with full mint luster and sharp details can be worth $25, $50, or even more. But here is where it gets exciting. There are rare cases where collectors pay serious money for coins that are not just ordinary 1940 D wheat pennies, but those with special qualities. For example, a perfectly preserved coin graded by professional services as mint state 67 red can sell for hundreds of dollars at auction. Some examples have even reached the high hundreds to over $1,000 depending on the buyer's demand and the coin's eye appeal. The market average for a nice collectible 1940 D wheat penny is around $42, which is already a massive jump from its tiny face value of 1 cent. Imagine holding a coin that was worth a penny during the days of Franklin Roosevelt, and now 85 years later it could bring you $42 or more in the collector market. That is the true magic of coin collecting. But the story does not stop there. The 1940 D wheat penny also has interesting error varieties which can make certain coins extremely valuable. For example, some pennies from this year have been found with double die errors where the lettering on Liberty or the date shows doubling. These error coins are highly prized and can command several $100s depending on the severity and clarity of the doubling. Another collectible variety is the repunched mint mark, where the D mint mark was accidentally punched more than once into the die. These little quirks are like hidden treasures waiting to be discovered, and they add even more excitement to the hunt. Now let us take a moment to imagine what these coins have lived through. A 1940 D wheat penny could have been used to buy a newspaper during the days when Winston Churchill was rallying Britain against Nazi Germany, or when Charlie Chaplin was entertaining the world with his classic films. It could have been in the pocket of an American worker just beginning to see the economy recover from the Depression, or in the hands of a young child saving pennies in a jar for candy at the corner store. Each coin is like a small time capsule that connects us to real people and real history. Collectors today love the 1940 D wheat penny not only for its value but also for its charm and history. It is one of those coins that every beginner collector can afford to own while still being exciting enough for advanced collectors to seek out in the highest possible grades. That balance of accessibility and rarity is what makes it so attractive in the hobby. So what should you do if you find one? First, do not spend it. Always take a close look under good lighting and maybe with a magnifying glass to see if it has strong details, bright luster, or perhaps even an air of variety. If it looks uncirculated or unusual, you may want to have it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, because that official certification can unlock its true value. To wrap things up, the 1940 wheat penny may be a small 1-cent coin, but it carries with it a giant story of American history, resilience, and opportunity. From its humble beginnings as a copper coin worth a single cent to its modern status as a collectible often valued at $42 or more, this coin proves that even the smallest pieces of change can turn into treasures over time. So the next time you are going through old jars of coins or searching through rolls from the bank, keep your eyes open for that little wheat penny with the date 1940 and the small D mint mark. It could be more valuable than you ever imagined. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the world of Lincoln wheat pennies. If you enjoyed learning about the 1940 Ultra Lincoln penny and its fascinating history, do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with other coin lovers so we can continue exploring the amazing treasures hidden in American coins. Together we can keep history alive, one coin at a time. Would you like me to also write you a super catchy YouTube video title and description with keywords to help your video rank higher? Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins of American history, the wheat penny from the year 1941. This little 1-cent coin may look small, but its story is huge. It carries history, value, and for some lucky collectors, the chance to turn an ordinary-looking coin into extraordinary money. Let us take a journey into the world of Lincoln wheat pennies. The 1941 1-cent coin, sometimes called the Ultra Lincoln penny by collectors, is part of the famous wheatback series that was minted from 1909 to 1958. These coins were designed by Victor David Brenner and feature the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the front. On the back of the coin you will see two simple wheat stalks, giving the series its name, wheat pennies. Now, the year 1941 was an important year in history. The world was at war, America was on the edge of entering World War II, and millions of coins were being produced to keep the economy running strong. In fact, the United States Mint struck an incredible number of 1941 pennies across different locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Even though millions were made, the survival of high-quality, perfectly struck coins is much lower today, and that is what makes them collectible and valuable. When you pick up a 1941 wheat penny, you are literally holding a piece of history from more than 80 years ago. Think about it. This coin could have passed through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, farmers, and families living during one of the most challenging times in American history. Each coin is like a time machine, carrying stories from the past. Now let's talk about the exciting part everyone wants to know. How much is a 1941 Lincoln wheat penny worth today in the coin market? The regular circulated examples that have been through decades of use are often worth anywhere from a few cents up to a few dollars depending on condition. But here's the shocker. Certain well-preserved examples, especially those graded in mint state condition, can be worth a lot of money. Collectors are always searching for brilliant red uncirculated coins that still glow with that fresh from the mint shine. A 1941 penny in great condition can sell in the market for $42 or even higher. Some rare varieties with errors, such as doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or coins struck off-center, can bring hundreds of dollars. Imagine finding one of those treasures in a roll of pennies or tucked away in an old coin jar. That is why so many people love searching for wheat pennies. The thrill of discovery and the possibility of finding a small fortune in such an ordinary coin is amazing. The beauty of the 1941 wheat penny is not only in its financial value but also in its cultural and historical meaning. It reminds us of Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest leaders in American history. It reminds us of the strength of a nation preparing to face global challenges. It reminds us that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest stories. Collectors often look for specific qualities when judging a 1941 penny. The first thing is the mint mark. A plain coin without a letter was made in Philadelphia. If you see a small D under the date, that means it was minted in Denver. An S means San Francisco. Certain mint marks are rarer in high grades, and that adds to the value. The second thing is the condition. If the coin still has original red luster, sharp details in Lincoln's hair and beard, and no scratches, it will be much more desirable to collectors. So if you have some wheat pennies at home, especially from 1941, do not overlook them. Take a closer look. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Look carefully for doubling or unusual features. That simple penny in your collection could be a hidden gem worth far more than 1 cent. Imagine this. A tiny coin that once bought a piece of candy back in 1941 is today valued at $42 in the collector's market. That is the magic of coin collecting. It is history you can hold, value you can discover, and excitement you can share. So whether you are a beginner collector just starting your journey or an experienced enthusiast, the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny is a must-have and a coin worth learning about. Every time you see those wheat stalks on the reverse, you are looking back into the heart of American history. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the story and value of the 1941 wheat penny. Keep searching, keep learning, and who knows, maybe the next penny you find will be the one that changes everything. Stay tuned for more videos about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the fascinating world of numismatics. Until next time, happy collecting. Do you want me to make this script even longer with extra storytelling about real auction sales and collector tips so it feels like a 15-20 minute YouTube video? Today we are exploring a true classic in American numismatics, the Lincoln wheat penny from the year 1942, a coin that has captured the hearts of collectors for decades and is still considered a piece of history worth far more than just 1 cent. Believe it or not, some of these 1942 wheat pennies have been sold for big money in auctions, and today I am going to reveal their history, unique features, and of course, the current market value, which can reach up to $42 depending on condition and rarity. Let's start with a little background. The wheat penny, also called the Lincoln wheat cent, was first minted in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. For the first time in United States history, a real person appeared on an American circulating coin, and that person was none other than Abraham Lincoln, one of the most beloved presidents of all time. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin featured Lincoln's profile on the front with the words "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," and on the reverse side it carried 2 stylized wheat stalks, symbolizing prosperity and growth in the nation. That is why we call it the wheat penny. Fast forward to 1942. This was an important time in American history because the United States was in the middle of World War II. Precious metals and resources were being diverted for the war effort, and even coinage saw major changes. For example, in 1943 the government produced steel cents instead of the usual copper because copper was needed for ammunition and military equipment. But in 1942, right before this huge shift, the penny was still being struck in its traditional bronze composition of 95% copper with a mix of tin and zinc. This makes the 1942 penny one of the last full copper wheat cents before the wartime changes. Now let's talk about why the 1942 wheat penny is so interesting and valuable today. Millions of these coins were minted across 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while Denver pennies have a small letter D under the date, and San Francisco coins show an S. Even though millions were made, collectors today hunt for coins in top condition, uncirculated or with brilliant luster, because those are the ones that fetch the highest prices in the market. If you are holding a circulated 1942 penny, meaning it has been used in everyday transactions and shows wear, the coin might be worth just a few cents up to $1 or $2. But when you get into higher grades like very fine, extremely fine, and especially mint state uncirculated coins, that's where the value climbs significantly. A bright red uncirculated 1942 penny with strong details can easily sell for $20, $30, and sometimes even as high as $42 or more depending on collector demand. Another exciting aspect is the hunt for errors and varieties. During the minting process, mistakes sometimes happened. Doubled die obverse, off-center strikes, or repunched mint marks can turn an ordinary 1-cent coin into a highly desirable rarity worth hundreds of dollars. Collectors carefully examine the date, the lettering, and the mint mark to look for these little details that can make a huge difference in value. If you happen to find a 1942 penny with such an error, it could be a jackpot in your coin collection. What makes the 1942 wheat penny so beloved is not only its value but also its connection to American history. Holding one of these coins in your hand is like holding a piece of the World War II era. Imagine the stories these pennies could tell, passing through the hands of soldiers, factory workers, farmers, and families who lived during one of the most challenging yet defining periods in United States history. Collectors also prize these pennies for their classic design. The wheat ears on the reverse are simple yet powerful symbols of America's agricultural roots and economic growth, while Lincoln's portrait on the obverse reminds us of leadership, freedom, and unity. No wonder the wheat cent series remains one of the most collected and researched coins in American history. Now let's look at the current market situation. Coin collecting has grown tremendously over the years, with more and more people recognizing the historical and financial value of holding rare coins. The 1942 wheat penny, especially in pristine condition, has a strong market value today of up to $42. Online auctions, coin shows, and collector forums are full of buyers searching for high-grade examples. While common circulated pennies may not make you rich, the better the condition, the higher the demand, and the higher the price. So, if you have a jar of old pennies lying around, it's time to check carefully. Look at the dates, check for that 1942 year, examine the mint mark, and pay attention to the condition. Who knows, you might be holding a tiny piece of history worth much more than just 1 cent. In conclusion, the 1942 wheat penny is not just a coin, it is a symbol of resilience, history, and American pride. From its copper composition that links it to the wartime era, to its iconic wheat design and Lincoln portrait, this penny is truly special. With a current market value reaching up to $42 and even more for rare varieties, it remains a popular and exciting coin to collect. So next time you come across an old penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look, because what seems like just small change might actually be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed learning about the 1942 wheat penny and its value, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin history and value updates, and share this video with your fellow collectors and treasure hunters. Stay tuned, because in our upcoming videos, we will uncover even more coins that could be worth big money in today's market. Until then, happy collecting, and remember, every coin tells a story. Do you want me to also write a shorter catchy intro and outro for this video script, so it instantly grabs attention for YouTube viewers? Today we are going to talk about a very special coin, the 1952 wheat penny, also known as the Lincoln wheat cent. This 1 cent coin may look small and ordinary to some people, but in reality it holds incredible history, a fascinating story, and yes, the potential to be worth much more than just a single penny. Believe it or not, some examples of this 1952 penny can fetch up to $42 in the current coin market depending on their condition and rarity. So make sure you stay with me until the end, because I am going to share with you everything you need to know about the 1952 Ultra Lincoln wheat penny, its history, its design, the minting details, errors to look out for, and of course the actual market values that collectors are paying right now. Let's start with the history. The Lincoln wheat penny series first began in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, who was one of the most beloved presidents in American history. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent replaced the Indian head penny and immediately became one of the most popular coins in American circulation. On the obverse side, you will find the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has remained on the penny for well over a century. The reverse design at the time was 2 stalks of wheat, which gave the coin its famous nickname, the wheat penny. These wheat ears represent prosperity and strength, tying together American agriculture and growth with the legacy of Lincoln himself. Now let's move into the year 1952, when the Denver Mint produced these wheat pennies with the small letter D mint mark just below the date on the obverse. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins, but as collectors know, not every coin is created equal. Some of these coins survived in pristine condition, carefully stored away by collectors or by chance, and those are the examples that today can be worth a premium. Others may have mint errors, striking mistakes, or unusual die varieties that make them stand out from the rest, turning what appears to be a normal penny into a highly sought-after collectible. The average circulated 1952 penny might only be worth a few cents above its face value, but when you find one in mint state condition, with sharp details, bright red copper color, and very little wear, the value can climb significantly. Coins graded in higher mint state conditions by professional grading services can command prices ranging anywhere from several dollars up to that $42 mark or more depending on demand in the marketplace. Collectors pay special attention to the luster, the strike, and the color. The most desirable examples are often labeled as red, because the copper surface has retained its original fiery red shine, rather than turning brown or darker with age. Another factor that makes the 1952 wheat penny exciting is the potential for errors and varieties. You should always check your pennies carefully because some examples could have doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or striking misalignments. A doubled die, for example, happens when the design on the die was impressed more than once at a slightly different angle, creating a doubling effect on the letters or numbers. These kinds of errors are extremely popular among collectors, and if you happen to find a 1952 penny with such an error, its value could skyrocket well beyond the usual price range. That is why many collectors use magnifying glasses or coin microscopes to carefully examine each detail of their coins. Now let's talk about the market value in more detail. Right now, the standard circulated 1952 wheat penny might trade between 3 cents and 50 cents depending on the condition. But uncirculated mint state red examples regularly sell for anywhere between $5 and $42, with some exceptional coins going even higher. Keep in mind that prices always depend on demand, the coin's condition, and the buyer. Coin auctions, coin shows, and online marketplaces such as eBay can sometimes see bidding wars for high-quality examples. So while $42 might be the common upper range for these coins, it is not impossible for extraordinary pieces to bring in even more. The best part about searching for wheat pennies is that they are still out there. Even though they were minted over 70 years ago, you can sometimes still find them in circulation, hidden in old jars of coins, in estate sales, or in the collections of relatives who once saved their change. Many people don't realize that the pennies they have sitting in a drawer could be little treasures waiting to be discovered. That is why coin hunting has become such a popular hobby. It combines history, treasure hunting, and investing all in one. So why should you care about the 1952 penny specifically? Because it represents more than just its copper value. It represents American history, it connects us to the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and it teaches us how small everyday objects can hold incredible stories. And of course, it is always fun to think that a coin worth just 1 cent could actually be valued at $42 or more. That is the thrill of collecting. Before we wrap up, let me give you some tips. If you find a 1952 wheat penny, handle it carefully. Oils from your fingers can damage the coin's surface, so use gloves if possible. Store the coin in a protective holder to prevent scratches and oxidation. If you believe you have a high-grade coin or a possible error variety, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC to have it authenticated and graded. That grading certification can make a big difference in the coin's market value. In conclusion, the 1952 wheat penny may just be one of those coins you glance at and think nothing of, but with the right condition, it can bring in up to $42 in today's market. Its history, its design, its potential for rare errors, and its place in American numismatic culture make it an incredible piece worth learning about and collecting. So next time you come across an old penny, don't just spend it. Take a moment, look at the date, check the mint mark, and you might just be holding a valuable treasure in your hands. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1952 wheat penny, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more coin value videos, and share this with other collectors or anyone who loves hidden treasures. Keep searching, keep collecting, and remember, sometimes the smallest coins can hold the biggest surprises. Do you want me to make you a full series of scripts for every wheat penny year and mint mark so you'll always have endless content for your channel?